Today, we're going to dive into the story behind a single, incredible photograph from the Artemis 2 mission. And it's a story that's really about what happens when the human mind gets pushed way beyond the limits it was ever built for, and what that reveals, not just about astronauts, but about all of us. It all begins with this one line. Before we see anything, just sit with that for a second. The planet tips. Can you imagine? It's this moment of just complete cosmic disorientation. So on April 6th, 2026, this is exactly what the crew of Artemis 2 watched happen. This image, they call it Earthset, was taken just moments before their Orion spacecraft slipped behind the moon, and that started a 31-minute total communications blackout with every single other person. Commander Reed Wiseman said watching their home planet, our home planet, just disappear like that, it gave him chills. To try and process what he just saw, this is what he said. I mean, what is striking, almost alarming thing for an astronaut at the absolute peak of his career to say? But that's only half of it. And there it is, the paradox. You shouldn't have to go through it, but it's a gift. That tension, that unbelievable contradiction, is really what this whole explainer is about. It's about an experience that kind of breaks you and remakes you, all at the same time. So what was really going on inside that capsule? I mean, what does it even mean to get a mind-breaking gift? Let's try to unpack the psychology of this incredible moment. This experience actually has a name. It's called the overview effect. It's that moment of instant global consciousness that astronauts talk about. But what Wiseman was describing was something even more intense. It's a kind of cognitive overwhelm because our brains, you and me, we simply did not evolve to watch our entire world vanish. There's just no file for that in our heads. And they had to sit with that feeling for 31 minutes in total, complete radio silence. Even the Apollo crews had Houston chatting in their ears. The Artemis 2 crew, they just had each other. For that half hour, they were, without a doubt, the most philosophically alone humans who have ever lived. So how in the world do you cope with that? Well, their response was just so profoundly human. First, they saw the unimaginable. Then, Canadian astronaut Jeremy Hansen pulled out maple cookies. Just a small, warm, grounding piece of home, a piece of Earth. They took 3 minutes to just exist with that feeling. And then it was back to the checklists, back to the science. The mind just protecting itself by getting back to the job. Okay, now let's flip this completely. Because while the crew was having this sublime, life-changing moment in the deep silence of space, the reaction back here on Earth in the chaos of the internet was, something else entirely. First, you get the immediate dismissal, that conspiratorial instinct that just says, if something is this profound, it must be fake. It's really just a way to avoid having to feel anything about it. Then you have this take, the reductive response. This perspective just completely whiffs on the emotional weight of it all, right? It collapses this profound human experience into simple orbital mechanics. I mean, it's technically correct, but it's wrong in every single way that actually matters. This one is a total refusal to see the paradox. Wiseman said it was both something they shouldn't have to go through and a gift. This view just flattens that beautiful, complicated tension into a simple rule because, ambiguity is uncomfortable. And finally, we get to what is maybe the most honest comment of the bunch: fear. Just a raw, anxious reaction to being reminded of our own mortality, our own smallness. I don't like it is just a gut-level turning away from awe. So, here's the crucial point. These comments aren't just random internet noise. No, they are a predictable map of our own defense mechanisms. They show us all the different ways we try to protect ourselves from an experience that is just too big, too overwhelming, too easily process. Look at these archetypes. Each one is basically a strategy to shrink the vastness of what the astronauts felt down to a manageable size. You either deny it, explain it away, judge it, or fear it. Anything but just sit with the awe itself. And what's the one thing missing from all of them? Curiosity. Not a single comment asked, "Wow, what did he mean by that? Tell me more." We've sort of become a culture that rushes to perform an opinion instead of just sitting with a question. And honestly, that might be the most telling detail of this whole thing. So what does any of this mean for us, here on the ground? let's bring the story and all its cosmic weight right back home. Let's go back to Commander Wiseman's words. And let's not read them as a complaint or a warning. Let's read them as a form of leadership. He was giving us all permission. Permission to admit when something is too big for our minds to hold. Permission to be broken open by beauty and to be thankful for it.
Because you don't have to go to the moon to experience this. We've all had our own 31 minutes. Theirs was a literal blackout behind the moon. Yours, well, yours was that moment of grief or love or insight that completely shattered your understanding of the world and didn't immediately hand you a new one. It's that moment that left you unmoored.
So I'll leave you with this question. What was your Earthset? What was the moment your world tipped on its axis and disappeared, even for just a minute? And maybe more importantly, what was the small human thing that grounded you? What was your maple cookie?